I eat a lot of Chipotle, Brandon.
So I've heard, and so you've told me, and so you've rubbed it in. I get this. Okay.
So before we get to that, let's just point this out. Brandon lives in Idaho Falls, which is all the way to the far right of the screen, right there. And here's the only 4 Chipotles in Idaho, in Boise.
I'm so glad we're doing this.
Bud. You need to move.
I need to move just to get Chipotle in my life.
You should. You should. And I'm going to explain why. This is a really interesting company. This was a value stock at $700 when Bill Ackman came in and bought a large amount of the stock, and there were a handful of other value investors. Some stocks will be worth $700, $800, $900, and you'll say, "How is that a value?" It's all nominal, and it's all based on what the potential expectations are. And again, there are no Chipotle in Idaho Falls. Let's update that on the fly.
Thanks.
Sad day.
I love that we can do that.
Yeah. So the key point here is that the activists can and will set you free. And what's really interesting about Chipotle, I did my capstone on it at Purdue, was what one worker can do to improve productivity. And I basically just had argued that they should pay one guy at the lunch rush an extra $50 to just stand there and fill in the holes. I'm one of those crazy people who sat there with a stopwatch and timed how long it took for them to make one burrito. It was 2 minutes and 20 seconds across the day. And then if they added that additional person, it was cut to 145. And that's how much money, if you multiply 35 seconds times effectively an hour, how many more burritos and how many more people would have stayed in line as a result. Sounds crazy, but this is the type of stuff that a lot of these activists do. And what's interesting about Ackman is Ackman wasn't just in Chipotle. What Ackman was doing, which was really, really crazy. I went to Brandon, have you ever been to the Woodlands in Texas?
No, I don't think so.
You ever heard of it?
No, not at all.
Okay, so it's outside of Houston, and it's this kind of it's kind of like if the Wonder Years were shot in 2010. There's this community there, and it's completely built out of nothing, completely out of nowhere. This one particular little area, and there is a Hilton, and there is a Del Frisco, and there is a Chipotle, and there are lots of Howard Hughes buildings. What do all of those companies have in common, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to tell us. I don't know.
Bill Ackman.
Oh, yeah. William.
What Ackman has done, which is really fascinating, he's found a way to synergize all of these other companies together. And by putting them all together, if you go and you stay in the Woodlands for 2 to 3 days, every single dollar that you spend there ends up in a company that Ackman owns, which is brilliant when you really think about it. But it's one of those things that whenever I go into a restaurant now or wherever I go, I always look to see who the biggest shareholders are, because I want to know who I'm actually making money for. Who am I handing money to? And in that case, these were a lot of companies that Ackman had activist stakes in at some point in his investment career. The other thing that's really interesting about Chipotle, and again, I just own Chipotle. I just own the stock. I bought it when it was about $950, and it's just sitting in a long-term account. This is a company that is really trying to solve its labor shortage problem, and they're doing so by giving away free college education. And they're giving away, if you work there for like 120 hours or 120 days, they will start to pay for you to go to school. And the bulk of their what they allow people to study are agriculture, food business, and supply chain. So they're trying from the ground up to pay for college education to promote and create talent. And the schools that they have that they have involved are great. It's University of Arizona, Oregon State, Johnson and Wales, which is one of the top culinary schools in the country. So they're really trying to solve the problem in a unique way.